Page 12, just as I am. 3/4 time. You're starting out in C position, but you're going to find out that the right hand's going to move around some. I want to talk about that a little bit. Well, let's start at the beginning here. We have a pickup beat and they're eighth notes, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. You're coming in on beat 3, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and then the last measure, the first line, we have that dotted rhythm. So the quarter note gets a count, the dot gets half of what the quarter note gets, or a half a count. So 1 1/2 counts, and then the eighth note comes on an and of 2, so it's 1 and 2 and. So you see that dotted quarter note? 1 1/2 count. It's the same as 3 eighth notes, because there's 2 eighth notes in a quarter note, and the dot gets half of that, which would be another one. That's 3 eighth notes in a dotted quarter note. It's like 1 and 2, 1 2 3, 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 and. So the eighth note comes on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and that's the dotted rhythm. People struggle with that, and I go over and over and over because I don't know if you're struggling or not. If you're not, good, because you're going to get them a lot. And if you are, I just encourage you to keep at it. You will get it eventually. You have dotted rhythms in various places here. It's all the same idea, 1 and 2 and. The left hand is tied. Got a lot of tied notes in the left hand. You have to work that out. And the second line on page 12, the left hand, it's here. It's like a 5/7 chord, except you're only using 2 notes. So you just come down one. Top of page 13, left hand, you're here to start because it's tied from before, and then it's here, 5/2. At the bottom of page 13, in the left hand, we're here. For the third measure, you can, if you want, do a 4/1 on that CG. Or a 5/1, which it's up to you what you do. I tend to do a 4/1 because a little finger doesn't have to do it all. It can share. Now on the right hand, let's talk about this hand moving around thing. At the beginning there on page 12, in the right hand, we have 3 and 1. Now, second E with second finger. We just changed hand positions. When you do that, you're here, now you're here. Try and get to where you can do that without looking at the keyboard, here to here. Go back and forth between any 2 fingers without looking, if you can. Eventually, you have to look to start, but eventually you want to feel that. And now you've been in this position, and then you get up to the top of page 13, last measure, you're playing that E with second finger. Then the eighth notes, you have to lift up. It's between phrases, you're just going to lift up and move. So now you're back to where you were until the second line. First measure, you got to do that 3/2 again. 3/2. So now you're back to this position again. Oh, okay. Then get to the last measure, that second line. You played the half note A with a little finger. Now you need the quarter note A with second finger. It's not between a phrase or nothing. We don't want any silence if we can help it. So you may have to practice that, and you may have to look down at the keyboard too. Try and get to where you can do it without a lot of silence between the A's. It's as if one finger played this A. How much silence is between them? There's always a little bit. Try and get to where it's that. And then now you're in this position. And then the third line down, second measure, you play the half note with the thumb. Now the next note's with the G. Again, it's the same phrase. We don't want to break in the sound, so try and make it sound as connected as you can. You may have to practice that, but now you're back down in this position. Last line, second measure, you're here. And then for the next measure, thumb goes down. You didn't really change positions here, you just lowered the thumb. You're in this position to this position, so it's here. Then for the last two measures, it's just 3-5 and 2-4. So you are changing your positions. This is kind of interesting. Bring out the melody. It's in the right hand. It's dynamics. You can do the dynamics. It starts out soft. That's the melody. So the left hand has to be super soft. Remember the tied notes in the left hand? Page 13, second line, you have that crescendo. It's a long crescendo going from a soft to a medium loud. You have to plan it out. And I do it by measure. So the first measure is going to be soft. Next measure will be just a hair louder, not much. Next line is going to be like a medium soft. And then that's the first note in the third line is where we're after. That should be the loudest of all. It's not loud, it's just sort of loud. So you make sure you don't get to that point until you get to that note. So take your time in getting louder. In the second line, a little bit louder. Now, stay there. In the last measure of that third line, you come back down. The left hand just stays soft. Just don't worry about the left hand. It's melody we're after here. And the third line down, second measure, right hand. I want you to go from a thumb to a fourth finger. You don't need to do that. You have 3 G's in a row there. You see that half note G plus a quarter note G plus a dotted quarter note G in the next measure. There's 3 of them. We can take all 3 G's. We don't have to have fourth finger until the next measure. So I'm recommending on the second measure, thumb and then third finger, because third finger you can just kind of hover over it. I can go back and forth with 3 and 1. Not a problem. So just bring third finger down and then fourth finger, because I can go from 3 to 4 with a little practice. But this kind of thing is very common in piano, where you have repeated notes. You can use different fingers and you'll get there. I recommend it. So it's 1 on the half note, then a 3, and then a 4 on the fingering there. Let's try this out slowly together to check the notes and the rhythms and all. I'm going to double the value of the fermata notes. You know how that works, I hope. For me, I do that. That's not a standard rule, that's just what I do. It is repeated, so we're going to play it twice. If you're going to sing all the verses, you have to repeat it however many times you got to do to sing all the verses, but I'll leave that up to you. Hands in C position to start. Give us 2 counts. Ready and go, and 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 2. 1, 2. 2. And 2 and 3. 1, 2. 2 and 3, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, hold, repeat. 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Two. 3, hold, 2, 3, off.